All right. But for today, here we go. Luca.
Number 2, I just don't understand why you put, like, you put the X and Y, you put 1 and 6. I just did 1.
We'll plug 1 into the equation.
Oh, okay.
When you plug 1 into -2 times 1 squared plus 8, you get 6. Okay? Yes.
You did number 1.
Were you here yesterday? Well, no. All right? So again, those of you guys, let me make this perfectly clear. All right? We're going to get started again today with question number 4. You'll be able to catch on. All right? But no, I do not have the time to explain everything brand new because you're sick. That's not how it works. All right? I promise you, Maxine, you can catch up. I promise. You just got to listen. All right? So I want everybody on question number 4. All right? Now, for question number 4. All right? Step number 1. All right, the reason why this one's a little bit harder is because there's a fraction involved. All right, so let's see what we got here. Number 1, x equals -b over 2a. Now don't forget, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Bless you. All right, let me write this a little better. All right, -b over 2a. All right, now, just to make sure you're good, we would say a is equal to 1, b is equal to -1, and c is equal to -12. I don't know what you mean by this. Let me just do the problem. Okay, you kind of follow along with me, and you'll be enlightened as we go. All right. So now, -b. All right. So that would be negative times -1 over 2 times 1, which is 1 over 2. So x equals 1/2. All right. Again, that is called the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry. What?
How did you get
Maxine, you weren't here yesterday. When you're not here, what are you supposed to do? Good idea. Very good.
Oh, never mind.
All right. So now I have the axis symmetry is x equals 1/2. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to find the vertex. All right. So to find the vertex, you take this coordinate right here and plug it in for x. All right. So y equals parentheses 1/2 squared minus 1/2 minus 12. All I did was I plugged 1/2 into the equation. What?
I'm confused because you brought back the square.
Okay, so look right here. Look right up here. All I did was I took this equation right here and I plugged 1/2 in for x. Right? So it's 1/2 squared minus 1/2 minus 12. All right? So now we're going to go ahead and simplify this. So this becomes y equals 1/4 minus 1/2 minus 12. Now, you should be able to look at that and say y equals 1/4 minus 1/2. Remember, 1/2 is 2/4. So 1/4 minus 2/4 is -1/4 minus 12. So you should be able to look at that and say that's really -12 and 1/4. If you wanted to write -12.25, I'm totally fine with that. All right. but your vertex then is 1/2, comma, -12 and 1/4. All right, so anybody have any questions with how I got -12 and 1/4? Just plugging the x coordinate into the equation gives you the y value of the vertex. All right, that was step number 2. Now, step number 3, the y-intercept. The y-intercept is always 0, comma, c, which in this case is 0, comma, -12. Thank you very much. 0, comma, -12. All right? Yes. It's 0C. What is C? All right? So now, what we're going to do is we're now going to graph that. All right? Now, I kind of liked what we did yesterday. We're going to add, all right? And then hopefully everybody's on board with that. All right. Now, when you're looking here, all right, the vertex is at -12.25. Does everybody agree? That means you got to go down quite a bit, right? So, in my opinion, all right, what I would hope you would do would graph something where the x-axis would be a little bit higher. All right. All right. Now let's draw in the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is going to go at x equals 1/2. Right? So for x equals 1/2, here is the 1/2 mark. It's going to go straight down. Everybody see that? Now, again, I do think it's kind of important when you're making a point. If you just write here 1/2, people will understand what you're doing. All right, they understand your scale. All right. Now, do I really expect you to, go down, count down 12? There might be 12 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, wow, I got kind of lucky. But it was 12 1/4. It kind of worked out perfect. So what I'm going to do is, remember, it's not that big a deal, so watch what I do. I'm going to just move this up a little bit. Does that make sense? And now I can try to get rid of the 1/2 and move it up. All right, there we go. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to count down 12 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and a little bit. So I think that would be the vertex. Does everybody agree with that? Something like that. Then, what's a little awkward in this particular case is the y-intercept is what? 0, -12. Does everybody see that? So then that's not a big deal. You just come right over here. And what I'm going to do is change colors so we can see it better. So then this point goes right there. Is everybody happy with that? Now you have to go on the other side of the axis of symmetry. All right, so you're a 1/2 unit from the axis of symmetry. So that means you have to be another 1/2 unit. All right, so this right here is the other point that you're looking at. You may have any questions with that? Maxine, does that make sense? All right. So now, if you want to look at the graph, it's not that big a deal, but you can just draw your graph. All right. Now it's a little bit harder to see exactly what the graph looks like because the numbers are so close together, but that would be what's referred to as the general shape of that graph. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Okay. You don't understand how I got negative 12?
No, from step 2 you got negative 12, right?
No. This right here, watch. This C is negative 12, do you agree?
Yeah.
That's what the y-intercept is. That's how I'm getting that. Now, do you not understand where I got negative 12 and 1/4?
No,
I just solved that equation to get negative 12 and 1/4.
from step 2?
Yes.
And then the first one in parentheses for step 2, you just did y is 0.
Because that's what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is always 0, comma C. It's always going to be 0, comma C. Just like if I look down here, what's the y-intercept for number 5? What's the y-intercept, guys, for number 5? It's right there on board.
0,
0, comma 7.
Oh.
All right, that's just a fact that you have to know. What?
So oh wait, actually never mind. I know why.
What?
So you always mirror like the y.
You're always mirror. That's what the axis symmetry is.
Do you mirror the y-intercept?
Every time. Every time. You have to find another point. All right, use the axis symmetry to find the third point. All right? Yes, quick.
I'm kind of confused when you do like step number 2, like so like you get 1/2, but like I just don't understand how you plug it in. Like,
Okay, one more time. You ready? Watch. This is highlighted for a reason. 1/2 went into x. 1/2 went into x.
turned into 1/4, right?
1/2 squared is 1/4.
And then
Minus 1/2. Minus 12. All right? Now, what we're going to do is, hopefully, Maxine, you're feeling a little better. All right? We feel a little bit better in a minute also. All right? So, for question number 5 now. It's the same exact principle. Nothing is different. Step 1. All right? X equals negative b over 2a. So, let's look at that. All right? Step number 1. X equals, and I want you to write negative b over 2a. That helps you to kind of remember the formula. Now in this case, what is b? B is negative 6. So I want you to write negative 6 over 2 times, what's a? Negative 3. Now we're going to simplify that. 6 over 6 over, which is equal to negative 1. So the axis of symmetry, x equals negative 1. Any issues?
When you plugged 6 in for B, why did you put that why did you put an extra negative outside?
There isn't an extra negative. Look up. This negative corresponds to the negative in the formula.
Oh, so you have to.
B, listen. B is negative 6. That's where there are 2 negatives. That's why there are 2 negatives. Okay, everything is fine. You good on that now?
Yeah.
All right. So if your B is negative, that means the answer is positive. Right? If your B is positive, that means your answer is negative. That's what that means. That means the opposite of B. That's all that means. You hear me? All right. So now, step 2, which I had about 5 questions on step 2. So let's knock it out right now. What do I do with negative 1? Plug it into the equation. That's it. All right, that's all you have to do. So step 2, y equals negative 3 parentheses negative 1 squared minus 6 times negative 1 plus 7. You don't need a calculator for that. You're practicing mental math. What's negative 1 squared? 1. 1 times negative 3. Negative 6 times negative 1. So what is y? Yeah, that's good job, guys. 10. Y equals 10. Struggling with negative 3 plus 6 plus 7. You wonder why there's a problem. All right, so here we go. Vertex. So my vertex is what? No. Negative 1, comma 10. Any issues?
I thought it was 0.
That's for number 3.
Oh, I thought
All right. So question number 3 is, what is the y-intercept? What?
0,7.
0, comma 7. That is not that difficult. All right. Now let's go ahead and let's add. Bless you. Now this time I'm going to copy it. All right, so here we go, guys. Now, what I need you to do on this is the vertex is at negative 110, so that's going up. Now, is it going to open up or down, guys? It's going to open down, thank you, because A is negative. If A is positive, it's going to open up. If A is negative, it's going to open down. So let's go ahead and let's put in the axes. All right. Now, I'm going up 10, so that means I should probably put the x-axis a little lower. All right. Now, x equals negative 1. That is our axis of symmetry. So here is negative 1. We're good with that. All right. Now, plot the vertex. Negative 110. There we go. Now, the y-intercept is what? 0, 7. Which is, I think, right there. So now, where's the other point going to be? Right across from it. Right here.
How do you know where to put the dot and the one to the right? How do you know where to put that dot?
Are you asking me about this dot right here?
Yeah.
That's this point right here.
Yeah, but like, how do you like do that? Oh, okay, I see.
Anybody else? Pickens, how are things going? Connor? All right, 3 steps. Plotting points. Not a big deal. All right. Here we go. Let's let the fun continue. All right, number 6. Here we go. So, x equals negative b over 2a. What's b? So therefore, it's going to be, which makes it a positive. So again, negative 12 over 2 times 1 equals 12 over 2 equals 6. Do you have any complaints with that? Any issues with that? All right. So now y equals 6 squared minus 12 times 6. 36 minus 72. Negative 36. So the vertex here is what? 6 comma negative 36. Okay, and this is what we were talking about yesterday. There's no reason I'm asking you to count down 36. All right, just not important to do that. All right, so now we have a problem. Some people forget this. What is the y-intercept?
Oh, because there is no C.
There is no c. If there is no c, the y-intercept is 0. There is no c, the y-intercept is 0. All right, so here we go. Now, the vertex is going to be to the right 6, so I'm going to move this over a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to have to go down 36, so that means I'm going to make it a little bit higher. Everybody see what I'm getting at here, right? Now let's graph 6. Everybody good with that? Now again, I think it's a good idea to mark this as 6. And then come down here and just mark this as negative 36. Anybody have any trouble with that? So then my vertex is at 6, negative 36. Any issues with that? Now what's my y-intercept? 0, 0, so I plot that point. And now what do I need to do? Mirror it. So let's see if I have enough room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it should be right here. Everybody agree with that? And then you can kind of try to draw the problem. Goes with nothing to it, just practice. All right. Any issues? All right, let's just go ahead and knock the rest of them out. All right, number 7, I tried to mess you up on because what did I do? Yeah, I just switched the order around, so don't let that confuse you. My advice is just let's go ahead and rewrite it. So we would say y is equal to negative 2x squared plus 8x plus 3. So this is open up or down? It's down, right? Very good question. Listen now. The problem is, you ready? Watch. I didn't move it to the other side of the equal sign. Right? I just switched it around its order.
I didn't know where the road was.
If the A is positive, it opens up. If A is negative, it opens down. So we call that the leading coefficient. All right? So here we go. Step number 1. X equals negative B over 2A equals negative 8 over 2 times negative 2. Negative 8 over negative 4 is 2. Agree? Quick.
So when you moved it around, how come you didn't change the sign?
Did you hear that? Okay. Because, again, I did not move it over here.
Oh.
Right, I just switched, I just switched the order. That's all. I just switched the order. All right? So now, if x equals 2, y equals negative 2 times 2 squared plus 8 times 2 plus 3. Y equals negative 8 plus 16 plus 3. Y equals 11, I believe. So the vertex is what?
2, 11.
So the vertex is 2, 11. And then the y-intercept, 0, 3. Not hard. All right, not hard at all. All right, now let's go ahead and graph. All right. So 2, 11. So I'm going to go to the right a little bit, but not that much. But I am going to go up 11, so I'm going to make it lower. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to graph x equals 2. So here's x equals 2. Now I have to go up how many? So I have room on this one. And then I'm going to plot the y-intercept, which is what? 0, 3. And then find the next point, which is what? Across here. We're happy with that? And then we're graphing. Anybody have any issues? Good. All right. I like I said, guys, your primary responsibility now is we just have one to go. All right. And listen, I'm going to leave that to you. But what is my recommendation? My recommendation is to erase 6 and maybe erase 3 and maybe erase 1 and try it again. Now remember what I want you to look over. Question 1 and question 2 are unique because the vertex is the y-intercept. The vertex is the y-intercept, so there's only one point. So you have to create a second point. All right? So you have to be careful. Again, let me say this perfectly clear so you understand what I'm saying. All right? Everybody needs a calculator tomorrow because I'm going to show you how to use your calculator. All right? To help you graph for those of you guys who are struggling a little bit. But listen, after 2 days now, listen. Again, I'm trying to tell some of you, this is not, am I good at math? This is not that. All right, some of you can say, well, I'm not very good at math, so I couldn't do some of the other stuff. This is simply following directions. That's all it is. Everybody in here can plot a point. Everybody in here can square a number. Everybody in here can follow directions. That's all this is. It's not math. It's following directions. All right, so once again, on Friday, we should have 100 on our quiz. I'm not asking you to do a whole lot of work. I'm asking you to do a whole lot of studying. And basically that means your homework is to do question number 8, verify that with one of your friends, and then go back and do one in each of the last sections. Like, you should redo either 1 or 2. You should redo either 3 or 4. And you should redo 5 or 6. And if you can do that, you are a master of graphing quadratics. All right, it's not a difficult task. And then after tomorrow's lesson, I'll show you how to use your calculator. You'll be even more dazzled. All right, because you won't even have to remember all of it. Well, you will, because I'm not going to give you credit for just writing down the graph. You're going to have to be able to label things. All right, so please take the time to finish up today. Nice, relaxing day. We're not even going to the end of the bell. You do what you need to do to get the problems done. And make sure you know it when you walk in class tomorrow.